is the On Call Podcast. Your home for sports, news, pop culture, tech, and the obscure. And of course, your host, Michael Meyer.
I've been drinking Kool-Aid jammers like I did when I was 9, 'cause I like to pretend that I haven't lost the time. In the end, the nostalgia, though it tastes fine, I can only drink a couple 'cause it feels like a lie. We played Halo and we'd lay low in our basement until the sun began to rise. We would go to school but not learn too much, 'cause it's hard to read when you've got tired eyes. They've been with me for some time, and it's nice to know that they still by my side. Friends are like stars, 'cause no matter how far, when it's dark outside, they will be your light. We played Halo and we'd lay low in our basement until the sun began to rise. We would go to school but not learn too much, 'cause it's hard to read when you've got tired eyes. Months go by, the time it flies, past the days that we drink Kool-Aid in the summertime.
That is neither here nor there. The NFL media is so down on the Bears. I can't take it anymore.
I mean, for the season or for longevity?
Yes.
I mean, for the season, I mean, there's not much to look at and be stoked.
A complete overhaul in the defensive secondary.
Would you rather have the Bears receiving corps, or you take 3 free agent receivers? Jarvis Odell, Antonio Brown. Talent-wise, obviously, Antonio's a sociopath.
I would honestly not want to lose Darnell Mooney. The Tennessee wideout, Velus Jones Jr., looks like lightning in a bottle. Yeah, a lot of comparisons with Debo. Debo potential. Debo light, if you will.
I hate sports analysts. Whenever there's anything new, it's like, oh, is he the next Debo?
But
Oh, is this the next Wildcat? Oh, is this the next?
so there's not a lot of positivity about Velus Jones, the third. He's a third-round pick. His birthday was yesterday.
Gotta hate that. Gotta hate when your receivers get older.
He's 25.
I hate. It's funny how like athletes have a birthday and everyone's like, no.
He's 25. The media is so down on the fact that he's 25, but
Steelers' oldest offensive player right now is 26.
yeah, but who cares?
No, it's just weird. I just saw it the other day. Made me think of it.
Tom Brady's
$1 billion. Yeah.
almost 50.
Yep.
And it's fine.
He's gonna in 2040. He's gonna get paid a lot of money.
And these players don't like you they haven't reached their potential growth-wise physically. So he's a year older. Okay. His rookie contract's only for 4 years anyway. So we get him at his peak. It also means he's hopefully mature enough and responsible enough that he doesn't cause disruption because he's not going through puberty still. I know Justin Jefferson for the Vikings is like 23 now, and he's already elite. Yeah, it's great if the birthdays work out that way.
Who's older, Velus Jones Jr. or Juju?
Juju's only like, 23, right?
Juju's been in the league for a long time.
You know, you got early graduation. You go to prep school, 7-on-7s. You can start as soon as you turn like 8. Like you can be 17 as a freshman.
That's so
sometimes.
weird. Like the fact that Joe Burrow is younger than Lamar.
You mean I thought Lamar's younger than Joe Burrow?
Yeah.
That's what you meant?
Yeah. But like, it's just weird. Like Lamar had been in the league for like 3 seasons before Burrow came to the league.
That was a quarterback throw there. That was Lamar. Missed
Did
my.
you see the highest paid sports broadcasters currently?
I saw Jim Rome up there.
What the heck is that?
I don't know what he even does anymore.
30 million. That's 12 million more than second, which is Romo.
Which his makes sense because he's one of the first modern era quarterbacks to go into broadcasting, which is like as annoying and drunk as he is on his broadcasts. It's cool to watch him diagnose and know what play's coming, although it can get annoying when he does it, especially when he's wrong. It's kind of cool. He got real comfy real quick. Now he's doing Corona commercials and drunk as shit during the broadcast. Are you happy with your Steelers schedule?
I don't care. I think the schedule release is supremely overrated since we already know who we're playing.
Is that why it's nice to be you guys? Like you don't care because you guys just don't lose?
No, it's not that. It's just like I knew our opponents already. I don't really care when we play them. We have to play them all eventually. Kind of how I see it. I liked that we didn't have any 4 o'clock games just because I don't like those. But that's just a personal preference thing.
Well, I think it matters when you play certain teams or when your bye week is. I think it affects your team.
The bye week's good. It's week 9 this year. That's about where I want it.
Ours is not great.
I hate when you get like the worst is when you get like week 4 and you're like perfect. You get 13 weeks in a row. Again, it doesn't matter as much, I don't think, with our current roster construction because our offense is so young.
It's funny you say 13 weeks in a row.
What?
Bears bye week is week 14.
Yeah. But I'm just like, at least it's that. I'd rather it be super late than super early if given the choice. Because the worst is when it's week 4 and you're like, cool, we don't have any injuries yet. Like, you know, usually your bye week's
That's the worst, yeah.
Your bye week's a reprieve of like, oh my gosh, hopefully we can get some dudes back healthy. But that's the thing is, you can get injured at any age, obviously, but our offense, the way our team's constructed, is not as important because we're really young on offense. Our only like older players, honestly, that even play right now are like Cam Hayward. I don't even know if we have any other player that's like super old.
That's the other thing about the Bears. They dumped everything aging except for Robert Quinn.
Right. And that's the thing is like, which makes your bye week again less important in my opinion. Like when you have like we had Roethlisberger is important. It's like that dude's gonna be banged up. So like having a week 4 bye sucked because then you had to put his body through 12 weeks in a row just getting pounded. And he's not Riley Reid. He's not used to that.
Other than Eddie Jackson now for the Bears secondary and linebackers, the oldest player is 25 years old.
Yeah.
Offensively,
Saw it, Jimmy.
the whole line's young. Wide receivers, like the oldest wide receiver the Bears have is fucking Bayless Jones, and he's a rookie.
That's so awkward. Remember the Brandon Whedon?
Oh, the 32-year-old rookie from Cleveland.
He was so old.
I do.
I don't think he was quite 32. I think he was 27. But it was too old to draft for a rookie. What is going on?
What?
This is gross. Someone sent me a grid of all. It's the grid of all of the games. I can't even look at that. Even to me,
That looks like I'm about to get a computer virus.
I don't want to look at that. And it's like, oh, that's Thanksgiving. I don't know. No thanks.
How do you feel about Saturday games for Christmas Eve?
Love it. Love Saturday games.
What happens to the NCAA? Are they just going to try to compete
Screw 'em.
still? Are they going to play Friday? They're on winter break anyway.
So wait, there's Saturday games on Christmas this year?
The
Okay, so-
majority of the season, the majority of the teams play on Saturday.
Really? I haven't seen the Saturday schedule.
Well, the Bears play on Saturday with the Bills. I do like that the week one. So, like we talk about, you don't care. You're gonna play them anyway. I'm glad the Bears don't play the Packers in week one. I don't think your first game should be in the oldest rivalry in sports.
I would want to play the Packers week 1 if I was a Bears fan.
Why?
There's no film on our new guys. That's an advantage for. I mean, it depends on how much you respect their head coach. Like I would rather play the Patriots week 1 or week 2 while they're still figuring themselves out. I don't want to play the Pats week 12 when they're fully entrenched in what they are. They know your current roster and all that. I want to play like as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, as much new stuff as we have. We have 2 rookie receivers. We got a new quarterback, no matter who it is, new defensive pieces. I'd rather play good teams early because they're not going to have film on how we're going to run our offense, especially since we're going to fully unleash Matt Canada's offense. I think you're more likely to upset a good team when there's no film on you.
That's true. If you're looking to pull off,
Yeah, like if I was the Bears and I really wanted to win as many games this year, I'd want to play the Packers like week 1 or week 2. But you do play them week 2, right?
say what?
You do play the Packers week 2, right?
Correct. In
Yeah,
Green
I
Bay.
want to play them week 1 or week 2 just because there's always hope. Like, Rodgers probably won't play a lot of preseason, so you kind of hope he comes out rusty and you'll have Velus Jones. You can unveil him. There's not going to be any film on him. Sometimes that stuff's good.
I like the week 2 is all right. There's just so much unknown in week 1 that as much it can benefit you, the Bears have 50 out of 90 new players.
Yeah.
They signed and
You have a
released.
whole new coaching staff.
They signed and released 12 players 2 days ago. After signing 13 UDFAs
Yeah. And you have all the.
and a whole new coaching staff.
So Miami officially sent Philly home.
Well, I mean, it was a 1-4.
And there were 7 teams left. 7 teams left in the NBA playoffs.
So, like week 16, Thursday games, Jags, Jets. And then Saturday is a vast majority of the games. Christmas Day.
Oh, because Christmas is on Sunday?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's Rams, Broncos, Bucks, Cards. And then Monday is Chargers, Colts. That's a good weekend, man. You got Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's just great. What a merry time for Halloween or for Christmas. I mean, I guess every week they have Thursday, but they don't. It's Thursday, Sunday, Monday. So a blind guess. How do you predict your team finishes?
Ten and 7.
10-7. So an improvement with Mitch over old Big Ben.
What were we last year? 8 and 1. We made the playoffs last year. I don't remember. Were we 9-7 and 1?
8-1.
We made the playoffs at that record? I know we made the playoffs.
You guys always make the playoffs.
I just don't see when I watch Ben's film last year.
He looked rough.
I don't see. We were 9-7 and 1. I don't see how we're gonna be worse. And our tie was against the Lions. So like, really, basically, I'm saying we're gonna be the same.
The fact that you lost to the
We
Lions.
should be better. Our schedule's easier this season. Our defense should be better. Our offensive line should be better. Everything should be better. And like the one mystery is at quarterback, and I don't think Ben was hit last year. He was not fast. I don't know. I still think Pickett's starting week 1. I just think that he's going to. Just because apparently
I saw your tweets with that guy from the 6,000 followers about the Steelers.
yeah, I was asking him if he thought the schedule had any effect, because I personally didn't. But there's a guy named Pony who's a really big Steelers Twitter account, and he was saying that if the Steelers started hard, that they'd be more likely to start Trubisky, and if we started easy, we'd be more likely to start Pickett. And I didn't think it mattered, because Pittsburgh, I don't think, is the type of team that plays those games. I think that they'll play the guy they think's better. If they think Trubisky at this moment in time is better than Pickett, they will play him. If they think that Pickett is better at this moment in time than Trubisky, they will play him. They don't care about. They're not going to play those games. I don't think they're going to play the game of, we think Pickett's better, but we don't want to rattle his confidence, or we think Trubisky's better, but we want to give the young guy a go. I don't see Pittsburgh as that type of franchise. I think they put the best 53 out there they can put out there every week.
I think the athleticism really behooves Mitch to start. Not that Ritter's not, but he's
Ritter.
That's what I meant.
You said Ritter. He has nothing to do with anything. He's in Falcon.
Whatever your guy's name is.
Pickett,
Ritter. Nobody's. Mitch is a new dad. He's going to be so fucking beaming. He is. You got yourself a Super Bowl winning quarterback now. He's going to play differently. Fatherhood changes you.
I'm with you, but I just think that Pittsburgh apparently had told Mitch that they were taking, after he signed his contract, like they told him they might draft a rookie, and they were going to give him a chance to start right away. And after he signed his contract, they're like, we're taking Pickett if he's left. Just so you know, we don't know if we're not gonna probably trade up, but we're taking Pickett if he's left. They took Pickett, and Pickett, the whole big thing was he's the most pro ready. That's what everyone kept saying over and over. They're like, he's the oldest, but he's the most pro ready. He can't beat out Mitch. Like, not to knock Mitch by any means, but if he can't beat out Mitch, Pickett's probably not gonna be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL at any given time. Not that he's going to be anyway. I mean, obviously the likelihood of that is always low. But if you can't beat out, like, I think Trubisky's solid. I was excited when we signed him. But obviously the hope is that Pickett comes into camp and is just like, wow. Just because, you always want the new guy to be better, right?
So as I see it, most NFL ready could mean jack shit. So
it could.
My thinking is that he doesn't beat out Mitch to start. I don't think he's at his ceiling, because there's always so much growth when you can learn a pro system.
Right.
And
but I don't think Pittsburgh. I don't know. I just think that they'll play whoever they think's better. They're not going to play any games with it. I think it's going to be a full-on competition. Now, they're saying it's a 3-legged competition. It is not a 3-legged competition. Rudolph has no chance. He has the same chance to win the starting job this year that the Reds do of winning the World Series. Like, yeah, they technically got a shot, but they won't win. They're not ruled out. But we all know what we've seen. You know what I mean? We've not said no officially, but
mathematically they're in it.
There's enough film on them at this point that they're not it.
I think Mitch will win the opening day. I think he loses it by 7.
See, I
when's your bye? 4?
Bye week's week 9. I think that if Trubisky starts the year, he probably finishes it, because he's not going to just suck, most likely. And Pittsburgh's not the type of team they're not going to put him out there and then just be looking for a reason to pull him. So if he gets the start week 1, it's his job until he just is terrible. And we give people long leashes. When Ben went down, Mason Rudolph played for like 6 weeks before Duck was a thing. and this was just complete trash for so long before we put someone else out there. And then Duck got the job. Rudolph came back. Duck sucked for a while. We gave him like another 2 weeks. Pittsburgh's not quick to yank you. They like the stability factor.
That's fair. You guys do that.
So I think that if Trubisky starts week 1, I think he starts the whole season. And that's my only reason. And that's part of my reason why I think that Pickett will start week 1. Because if it's close, I think like if it's like split, I think they'll give the nod to the rookie because that's who they hope is their franchise guy. Just because I don't think that they're going to want a controversy throughout the season. They're not going to want to talk about it. If Trubisky starts, I'm fully prepared for him to, like, I would be looking on my phone trying to find a bet for like most games started this year by a Steelers quarterback. Right now, Pickett's like minus 200. If they announced Trubisky starting week 1, I would want to start Trubisky. I would want to take the number on Trubisky at plus money immediately.
Because he'd be the first quarterback ever to start all 17 or what? Or it's just they're
No,
saying who starts the most this season.
He would start more. He would start more this year just because I said Pittsburgh's not going to yank him unless he's terrible. And I just don't think that our offense, no matter who starts, is going to ask the quarterback to do so much that they're going to look that bad. If you don't turn the ball over, you're not going to get benched, basically, unless the offense looks anemic.
Where did what's his name play in college?
Pitt. Pittsburgh to Pittsburgh. He literally.
So did he play in Heinz Field?
Yep, they share a field, so he knows the field.
I was going to say
switch lockers within the same stadium.
I was thinking maybe Mitch would have a leg up because of how shitty Soldier Field is. He would do well in Heinz Field comparatively.
Yeah, that's.
I guess not. He has no leg up.
And that's part of it too. Is Pickett's got the. Tomlin, I guess, goes to a lot of the Pittsburgh, games and practices because it's the same building, so he stops by. So there's obviously that relationship there already, which is a little scary because I hope that they weren't just like buddy and that he picked him partially because he's like, I like this guy. Like,
what is it? Those red glasses or whatever that they put on chickens.
It happens. So we'll see. I mean, I'll root for whoever it is. I'm not gonna root for anyone to fail, but obviously as a Steelers fan, I'll root for it to be Pickett. I was excited for Mitch, but the hope is that the rookie will come into camp and will just be like, oh yeah, this guy. Because most rookies just start right away nowadays. If this was 20 years ago, Mitch wouldn't start week 1. And I think that, Pickett would start week 1. I think that Pickett has a good chance of starting week 1 better than a lot of rookies recently because there's a new offensive system. There's no coach or no quarterback who's played the system. He's not coming into a place where, like, last year you guys did the same thing with Dalton, but that was Matt Nagy, and we can't assume he's rational. But like, it'd be like if this year, I don't know, you have, like Garoppolo, how kind of like he kept the job over Lance, even though Lance was like, theoretically had a higher ceiling. It's just like, well, there's already a guy. He's already established. He knows the offense. He knows everything. When you come into that type of situation, it's really hard to upseed the guy who's in there, which he clearly has now because he's going to get rid of Garoppolo.
Right, yeah, because he's always going to look better in practice because there's always going to be a smoothness each day.
Mm-hmm.
I think Trey Lance doesn't start. So Bears Niners week 1. Who starts?
Lance. I mean,
you think Lance is starting week 1? I will bet you we can write it on the fucking whiteboard.
Oh, I like it. We should do week 1 quarterbacks. I'm going the young guns, Lance Pickett, and you like
the old guns.
You like Trubisky. See, my thing about Trubisky is just that it'd be different if he would have started for us last year. Like if he started for us last year, I think for sure he'd probably start, but he doesn't know any of the receivers. The only receiver he knows on the team is Anthony Miller, and we don't want to play him anyway.
And he's bad, too, because he didn't even play for the Bears.
Yeah. They were like, no, thanks.
He didn't even play for the Texans.
I think that Pickett isn't going to be in a great situation as a rookie, though, because our offensive line's pretty good. You have a good running back. And then we have Calvin Austin, Deontay Johnson, and Harris, who are great yards after the catch guys. And then you have Freiermuth, which is the safety valve. But you got to love guys that you can just flip it down to, and they can create stuff for you. But I just texted you this week about the drama with Big Ben. How they asked him if he'd pull a Tom Brady and come out of retirement, and he said, "All I know is that the GM and the head coach don't want me there."
Yeah, he's
It's
too
like-
busy playing with his baloney.
He's not good anymore. Like, they didn't want him last year, but the Steelers are trending on Twitter. What else is new? They didn't want him last year, but the Rooneys wanted to do the classy thing or whatever and not kick your veteran out of town.
All right. Mike. Zach. Pitt, I say. Big Dick Money Mitch. And Mr. Playboy Bunny, or Playgirl Bunny. He looks like he could be one. A Jimmy G. You're saying, what's his name? Ricketts, Pickett, Ritter. What's his name?
Trey Lance and Small Hands Pickett.
However you spell it. Pick ETT is all I put.
That's right.
Hey.
It's
spelled
an
like
easy
that.
one. It's a lot easier than Roethlisberger.
It's
A lot easier than Roethlisberger was. I'll give you that.
robot. Yeah, his name was so fucking long it broke Madden.
It's not a good one.
So there we have it on video for the stream. Week 1, Mike says Jimmy G and Big Dick, Big Energy, new Dad Mitch.
Steelers technically still have a GM for this year, which is super strange.
They have a GM.
We technically do not have a GM still. We've interviewed like 6 guys a second time now.
It's a true look of a floundering franchise.
What, being thorough in your staff hiring so you don't have
The
to...
Bears not only have a GM, they have an assistant GM.
There you go. We're always slow and deliberate, and we've had 3 coaches in like the 80 years.
I do kind of like that.
You make your decision correctly, you don't have to keep making it.
I don't want to hear it. I'm
I
going
can't even. I don't even know which Ryan do you guys have currently. Poles is the current
Ryan Poles, baby.
and Ryan Pace was the old Ryan. Ryan of
Yeah.
old.
Ryan P. Matt. And Matt E now.
And he had a new head coach too, right?
Yeah.
Eberflus.
Eberflus.
What type of offense is he under on? Do you know?
He's not the coordinator.
Is
He was the defensive
he was
coordinator for the
defensive,
Colts.
so he probably won't call offense.
He won't call defense either.
He won't.
No. He said it already. Ian Cunningham. Is it Ian Cunningham? I forget. They got a new defensive coordinator. He's running. He ran.
Well,
They're
it was
running
his
a.
buddy, right? It
They're
was
running a 4-3. That's already been decided.
but his defensive coordinator was like on his staff,
like a
before,
linebacker.
right?
Yeah, they did a line.
Yeah. So he's
All
not
of his-
calling it, but it's like they're the same.
I taught you the base. So put your spin on this. Kind of like the Bears last year had Sean Desai. He ran a complicated 3-4. But it was a base of somebody else. I forget.
There was a offensive lineman who said he'd rather face TJ Watt than Myles Garrett. And the funniest response I saw to it was I said, yeah, because Myles Garrett's too busy messing with the offensive lineman. When you play TJ Watt, he's busy sacking the quarterback. He's not with the lineman anymore. I was like,
That's
that's
fair.
pretty funny.
Then the Bears coordinator is Luke Getsy, who is the former quarterback coach for the Packers, who runs the what's the Packers fucking coach's name? Matt LaFleur. They're both disciples of the Shanahan Power Zone run scheme.
Gotcha. They're going to need to run it this year.
I predict this year Justin will be the first 4,000-yard passer for the Chicago Bears. or he'll average enough per game
He'll
to be a
get
fourth.
he'll get to 4. He'll get to 4. It's like what, 225 a game, 230. Not too crazy.
He didn't average that last year, but
Yeah.
he didn't average it. So and he didn't start. But like his averages weren't enough to suggest they would have got him.
They need to. They need to let him throw. That's how you learn.
I think a cohesive scheme. I got the 2020 Packers handbook. So it's like all of their base sets, all of their motions, their meshes, every route, and how they set up each and every one. It's really cool to watch how you can see because they give you a diagram before each play of how each set is run, and then the motions they use to decipher each defensive front they're facing. It's pretty cool. So I think what's great about it is you can have like 5 or 6 different plays when you walk up to the line of scrimmage. It's like, oh, we're facing man. Boom, there's 3 of them knocked off.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's you run someone in motion. It's like, all right, they're a 2 deep safety. There's the other 2 knocked off, so we're gonna run this play. Bam, like it's a good process of elimination, but it keeps it simple because you start out in the same base. I think it's good teaching for discipline because you're always gonna have the same. The check downs are the same. Like I like the idea of it to begin with. Who you got in today's game? Phoenix, Dallas.
I want it to be Dallas. I think Phoenix closes them out, though.
Oh my goodness.
I think Phoenix closes it out. I think the Warriors will close it out tomorrow. I think the Celtics take it tomorrow. I think we're going 7 in that one.
They might. Are you jealous that we have 2 TVs so we can watch sports in the office?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I'm trying to think. What conference are you playing this year? Besides yours.
In the East, we play the Bills.
All right, so AFC East.
And then the NFC, we play the South. Which outside of Tampa isn't bad. I don't mind the Saints, Falcons, or Panthers. That's not a problem.
I think.
And then our extra game is the Eagles.
Here's it. Yeah, so we got the NFC South, the AFC East.
Weirdly, I think the Pittsburgh's X Factor,
And the
our
AFC
most
South.
important player on our entire roster this season, that'll determine our success, assuming there's no additions, is Akilo Witherspoon.
Was that a name? What'd you say?
Akilo Witherspoon.
Cute. What does he play? I have no idea.
He's a corner, and he played for the Seahawks, and the knock on him was inconsistency. Well, he came to Pittsburgh, which I said was a better scheme fit. We traded for him. He learned the defense.
What kind of corner?
Outside.
Outside.
And he became our number 1 corner at the end of last season, and over the last 8 weeks rated by PFF as the best corner in all of football. Now, I'm not saying he has to be that good, but the knock on him was inconsistency. They said when he was good, he was good. But there was times it was just like, what are you doing out there? I think he's the biggest tell because we're invested in him right now. Not financially, but like he's the only guy on our roster who could be corner number 1. So like we have Wallace who's solid and Sutton who's solid, but they're not number 1. So like we're lined up as you're going to take the number 1 receiver every game and you're going to cover him. So if he plays like he did last year, I think we'll be set. But if he plays like garbage, we're in trouble.
Steelers run a 3-4-2, right?
Yeah. And Hayden's gone officially, so he's cleaned out his locker, so he's not going to be back. So because we don't have anyone else, I think he'll be the most important player on our team. Just because if he goes back to his inconsistent ways where he's just not very good, you can't have a not good corner 1 and be a good defense.
I do. I love a 3-4 defense. I love the exoticness of how you can. It can come from 6 different spots.
Mm-hmm.
I like the consistency of a 4-3. Like last year, the Bears were running a 3-4. I guess if you have it's got to be hard to switch from a 4-3 to a 3-4 because the scheme is so different, and you're going from like outside linebackers to now essentially edge rushers.
Which we've had a 3-4 since
Forever.
80s.
Right.
It's not something that you think about.
But like I say, you got a whole regime change, and they wanted to switch you to a 4-3. Where's JJ play? Does he run D end? Does he run linebacker? Because he can do both, but he's clearly a better pass rusher.
Who, TJ?
Yeah.
He'd have to pay edge.
No, there is no edge. That's D end.
Are you talking about a 4-3?
And a 4-3, it's D tackle, D end.
He'd have to play the end,
That's what I thought.
which I think makes him less valuable.
Right. Because there's no coverages then. He doesn't have to learn a scheme.
He
whether
gets less pass deflections and stuff like that. But I mean, you have to. He's good as pass rushing is. You just have to have him pass rush.
the thing, like the awesome thing about 3-4s is the way that
It makes it harder to double him. That's one of the bigger things. It makes it harder to double because you don't know if he's coming for sure or not.
you can do those.
If you have it set to double and he doesn't come,
You're hitting
that's an issue.
a fake pass rush and you're dropping in. You're covering the flats. It can break up an entire screenplay, and it's a dead play. He may as well have gotten a 5-yard penalty. 3-4s, I love the exotics. The last time the Bears were good, truly good, Lovie Smith. 4-3, Tampa 2, which that's Matt Eberflus's defense.
Yeah, it'll be weird. It's gonna be a weird year. A lot of new faces for Pittsburgh, really. I mean, 2 receivers that are going to play serious time. The quarterback's going to be new no matter who it is. We're going to have 2 new starting offensive linemen. I mean, Witherspoon was there last year, but not the whole season. And then Wallace will be our number 2 corner, and he's new. Miles Jack, I just keep forgetting we signed him.
It's true.
That's a good signing. And
Good signing.
Keep forgetting.
Great for
He's even there.
Jacksonville. I think
We also signed Kazee from the Cowboys. I still have no idea what the heck he's going to do.
so. In a 90-man roster that teams are at right now, I think the Bears have had a turnaround of 60 players, and of the starters on each side, I think there's 3 returning defensivemen.
Oof. That's good as long as your new ones are good. They're all young, so you got to hit the hit on them.
On the offensive side of the ball, Montgomery.
Is Tariq Cohen ever going to play football again?
He's released. Oh, I didn't send it to you. He wrote it this letter. I'll send it to you. I don't think he's ever going to play again.
Really?
But he talked about how rough his life was, like between his brothers dying, his injuries, previous gang affiliation stuff. Like it's a pretty emotional read. It was like an open letter to my 17-year-old self. It's pretty awesome. I didn't make it through all of it yet because kids are annoying.
I wanted to trade for. Sorry, I guess I should speak out loud to how I got here. So you're talking about him, and then I was thinking about like him being done. And then I was like, oh well, Rojo, who I think's done, and Carson, all that stuff. And then I thought about our fantasy league, and I was like, I want to trade for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, not because I even believe in him, just because I want to root for him to break out now. I just want to root for him to just.
I put it in the group text.
He's only 23.
I offered a third.
The issue is he sucks. The issue is that he looked like the worst running back on their roster for like the last 2 seasons. That's
It doesn't make it better that Darrell Williams, new to the system, knew it better, played it better, ran harder.
I think that Rojo.
I think they need Kareem Hunt.
I think it's the best signing if you're Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Just because, I mean, they could have went out and got Sony Michel. They could have got.
He doesn't fit. They
could have got Leonard Fournette. They could.
Fournette would have been
They could have went out and got someone. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think Fournette wants to play for him though.
No, but they went out and got a guy who I think is the least threatening to Clyde Edwards-Helaire's job. Now, he might share with him just from Clyde Edwards-Helaire not being good, but I don't think Rojo's not the type of guy who's just going to take the job.
He's not going to unseat him.
Yeah. He's not going to take the job. He might get it out of just being given it.
I had CEH, I think, twice last season. What was it? I've been trying to get a couple of second-round picks, but man, people are being stingy.
Yeah, you can't get picks before the draft. Right now, I think in Dynasty is when picks are worth the most and young people are worth the most. Once we're like halfway through the season and you have someone who's 28 years old and they're just blowing the roof off everybody, no one cares if they're 28 anymore. But at the beginning of the year, they're like, I want every single player to be 22 years old. Or I want picks. Adam sent me a trade that I was considering, actually,
Oh my goodness.
and then he canceled it. And so that's fun.
It is so frustrating. You know, there's so many dynasty trade calculators out there, and
Just at least find something that's close. Like,
The
run
one-
it through before you send it, and make sure that it's something isn't like just ridiculously one.
but those are the only ones he wants.
Yeah,
So
Gwen you can't even overpay Gwen. That's not even a choice.
So, dynasty trades, I realize it's way more crazy because you're dealing with draft picks and you're not getting a fresh start every year. But people need to stop overvaluing what they have compared to what other people have.
That's the problem is when people, you end up, once you've been in enough trades, you end up with everybody that you're higher on than the consensus, which is fine. Like I told you, like with Miles Sanders, I'm higher on him than what he's worth. I know this, so I don't try to trade him. Am I willing to trade him? Sure. But at the same time, I'm not like going out my way to be like, I'm going to trade Miles Sanders because no one's going to want to give me what I'm going to accept. And I'm not saying that I think he's like a top 5 running back. I just don't think he's running back like 35 or whatever he's currently ranked at. Like I think that he has potential to be really good.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't want to get rid of him because I see that.
In a PPR league, he does have a higher value.
Yeah, and like that's just one of those things where like certain guys like Elijah Moore. I didn't hate him, but I just wasn't as high on him as the consensus, so I put him on the block because I was like, if I can get fair value for him, what everyone deems as fair, I would trade him because I don't think he's worth that.
I gave you a first for him, right?
Yeah. And like I said, I think our trade in the calculator was like pretty close. And like
I didn't even run it because you're not an asshole.
you sent it to me even first. I just said
And
that
I'm
was
sure.
him.
I
I said,
totally believe that.
It was close, but like I said, for me, I'm like, I was willing to take something close because in my head, I'm not convinced. I could be wrong, obviously, because I don't know, but I wasn't convinced he's worth what people were saying he's worth. So if I could get, fair market value for him, he's gone. That's kind of what I think of with when I put my players on the trade block. I'm like, you give me something that the trade value says is worth it, assuming I don't hate a guy that you have. Like, I'm not like he's not worth anywhere near that. I accept it. But
I sold
and
you
that's how it
like
should,
like
and that's how it should be.
Rodgers. I sold him to you. I think pretty fucking reasonably, considering he was MVP of the league.
Yeah, I gave you Jalen, which you ended up flipping. I know Jalen was involved in that trade, and then Jalen ended up going to.
Oh yeah, and then I got Mahomes from him. Yeah, so I mean, yeah.
Best
I
thing
got another multiple time MVP, and oh wait, did he win it once or twice?
just one so far.
Just one so far.
Won
Okay, but he's won
again.
the AFC Championship pretty much every year he's been in the league.
Right, and it's just frustrating because like when I put a player on the block, I'm like, if you give me fair value, I will definitely consider it. To where I feel like when Adam puts a player on the block, he's like, I want you to overpay me for this person.
That I think is the issue.
And it's like they're not on the block then.
You're not fishing.
They're not on the block because like everyone's available if you're gonna overpay. I love Najee to death. I love Deontay Johnson to death, and not just because they're Steelers, but like I love Deontay in fantasy when I drafted him because I was high on him last year. I like DJ Moore a lot. There are guys on my team I like, but the issue is you could get them if you want to overpay for them. Anyone. But they're not on the block. I wouldn't put Najee on the block and be like, I'm trying to trade him for 10 times his value. You know what I mean? Like you can't put Patrick Mahomes on the block and be like, I'm looking to trade him for 3 firsts.
What do you see as the biggest risk for downfall for like DJ Moore? Is quarterback?
Yes, never having a quarterback. The thing is, I like him I think for him, you just need CJ. Or biggest downfall for him is they never get a quarterback, and Christian McCaffrey starts to stay healthy. He is a lot better when McCaffrey's not out there, just because they can't run the ball the same. They have to throw it, and they can't throw it to their running back as much. But yeah,
Scary Terry, his issue, same thing. Shitty quarterback. Now they got Carson. Carson will wing it.
I'm not sure he's as good. I mean,
Do you think Heineke's better than Carson? Or you mean Scary Terry's not as good as DJ Moore?
yeah,
No, I don't think he is. I just think he's a good
had
safety
a lot of
valve.
hype. He had a lot of hype, and like they had just drafted Jahan Dotson, which is a lot more threatening than Terrace Marshall. Like, and I don't know. I just was never as sold on Terry as everyone else.
I don't know what I was listening to that made me want to jump on Elijah Moore from you, especially when they drafted.
Dude, a lot of people love him.
Especially when they drafted a wide receiver at first.
A lot of people love him. I mean, if the Jets' offense just becomes ridiculous.
Oh, let's see.
Yeah, and then Gwen is even worse than Adam now. She's like, I want Cole Kmet is on the trade block. Or remember she put Jamar Chase on the trade block?
Yeah.
And at one point I offered her Elijah Moore and 2 firsts for Jamar Chase. And she was like saying that she was going to do that. I offered it to her, and then she's like, yeah, I'm just going to keep Jamar. And I was like, what's the point then? Like, why did you? It's like she just wants to know what their people are, that she thinks they're so worth everything. And she even made a comment to me. She goes, well, I'm probably just not going to trade whoever it is for a fair price. And it's like, well, then why would you? They're not on the
Don't
block.
put them on the block.
Like, they're not on the block if you're not willing to get rid of them for a fair price. I was trying so hard. She thought I wanted Jamar Chase, but I was trying to disguise it. I wanted Jalen Waddle. That's who I wanted. But I was going after Chase so I could negotiate down to Waddle. That's kind of what I was trying to do.
Oh, okay.
Like, Waddle was my real target, but I wanted her to,
You were long conning it.
Yeah. But then she decided that Miami's going to have the best offense in the history of all of football, and that Waddle and Tyreek Hill are going to be wide receivers 2 and 3 to only Jamar Chase, who will be wide receiver 1. And then Gabriel Davis will be the 4th highest scoring receiver. And Andrews will be tight end 1, and Kmet will be tight end 4. And Rojo will be running back 3. That's the thing, is her running backs, aren't they a nightmare?
They're a nightmare?
Like, I thought she went 0 RB in the draft, which is whatever, but like,
No, I don't even remember what hers were.
but she's like so sold that all of her running backs are going to become ridiculous.
Rojo is
she ended up
AP.
trading for DeAndre Swift, which I'm not as sold as everyone else. So here's Travis Etienne,
Who's done nothing.
Ronald Jones, Darrell Williams, James Robinson, and
Who's done nothing yet,
and
yeah.
Elijah Mitchell.
A couple injuries.
And Elijah Mitchell is tentatively good.
If it all pays off, she will be good.
Yeah, I mean, that's everyone's team. There's not very many teams out there that if their players don't reach their ceilings, they're gonna. Or
Yeah.
if their players reach their ceilings, they're gonna be bad.
Look at the players banking on Jerry Jeudy, and he got fucking arrested today.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna be good.
Yeah,
He still might be.
He still might be.
His.
But now his
charges are
fantasy
pretty
value,
minor.
depending on what the domestic violence is.
No, it's an enhancer.
Yeah, and if he's found guilty of both,
Yeah, but it's so basically what I gather.
and
is
how
he,
harsh the
he,
NFL wants to
what,
be on
cut
him,
brakes or something, basically, probably.
like on the car.
Yeah.
I didn't hear what the
Well,
charge
he
was.
did criminal tampering, which means you mess with somebody's stuff with the intent to harm them. And there's domestic violence enhancer, meaning it was his romantic partner.
Oh.
He like cut brakes or just did something to something she owns that with the intent to hurt her, maybe.
That's pretty severe.
It's gonna be hard to prove the intent, though. Is gonna be the issue with
Fair.
tampering. They said that's the hard part of the tampering charges. It's really hard to prove that he meant to hurt her with whatever it was, unless it was like cutting brakes, because that's pretty obvious.
I got your fingerprints right here on this brake line,
But if it's something like
right next to this.
he did something to monitor her, or he did something and it was a fire hazard. It's hard to prove that he knew it was a fire hazard and he knew, you know what I mean? But if it's brakes, again, that's pretty black and white. But it just kind of depends what he did.
In layman's terms, they were talking about it like a lot of it had to do with possession of a weapon during threats. Who knows? It's apparently Colorado has a very broad spectrum on how they look at these, and they have different triggers at how it hits this enhancer versus.
And we'll see. I mean,
We'll see. Yeah, for
it is
sure.
what it is.
He's going to get suspended either way.
My dad's team's looking up in Dynasty, though, speaking of teams that didn't do well last year that I think are looking up for this year. Because, like, he has KJ Hamler, who isn't, like, that great. But, I mean, if Judy misses time and unleashes him a little bit. But, like, my dad has Dobbins, who didn't play last year. But, I mean, that's a big deal. Like, he could be a legitimate back that he just didn't have on his team last year.
He could legit be a top 5
And then he has
fantasy
pick
player.
1-1, which he's probably going to get Brees Hall. Then you have Brees Hall, J.K. Dobbins, your top 2 backs. Like, it's not bad.
It's not Sneath-worthy. That's for sure.
Oh, and he has Saquon. Who, again, like, I'm just saying, this is what we talked about.
CMCC.
This is what we talked about, though, with the potential. When you read the potential of what could a Brees Hall, Saquon Barkley, J.K. Dobbins backfield be, potential, they could be 3 top 5 backs.
Yeah.
Potential.
Potentially.
And then he has Diggs, a wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What sucked is seeing Saquon because he only missed like 3 games last season or 4.
Oh, and
He
did you
looks
see
slow.
that? I didn't see this. My dad has the last pick of the first round, the first 2 picks of the second round,
I tried trading him. He's
and the last 2 picks of the second round.
Your dad is being very bullish on his picks. I tried it. I was signing players and picks.
He's sitting there going, "I'm going to build a young
unit."
Yeah, he really. And the good thing for him is he has a lot of players who are just like you don't want, like you know. But the good, like he has again. We're talking about. Oh, he has Keenan Allen on his bench. I forgot he had Keenan Allen. But like again, for a year or two, if you have Allen and Diggs at your wide receiver positions, and then your running backs are Barkley, Hall, and Dobbins. The Hall sucks that he wished that Hall would have went somewhere else because he has Michael Carter. He could have had both those guys.
He's cuffed.
But I mean, he has a team like where he could drop some of these guys, and then he's gonna be able to draft. He's gonna fill his taxi squad with like major potential. And
I was thinking like, yeah, I have a first round. I got the number 3 pick. I'm not gonna get a running back. 1 and 2 are essentially
Wilson, London, or Walker.
right. That's a.
You don't want you probably. And the bias in me, the hard part is I wouldn't want Wilson since you just traded for more. I struggle with that, which isn't necessarily the correct thing to do. But in my head,
I'm
I'd be
hearing
like,
Drake London's the one to pick.
it's like with Dad. I would have trouble taking Brees Hall. He's the correct pick. Hands down, he's the correct pick. I completely think he's the correct pick. But I have Michael Carter. I hope he sucks. I'll take Drake London, and you know what I mean? Like, I'll hope that I hit on both. But that's not the smart way to do it, but that's in my head. I think about that kind of stuff.
Do you pick the smart choice and handcuff yourself, or do you go for another chance at a big boom somewhere else?
Who are you hoping you get at 3? Because Hall's gone. There's my dad's taking.
I can't believe how high people are seeing Olave going this early.
Like I think Hall is the pick. He's 20. He's still 20. He's an athletic monster. So like those type of guys, he'll figure it out eventually. Like he's just too young, and he's gonna get the volume. That's the thing.
He hit he was a 10.0 out of 10 on the RAS score.
Yeah, you just draft that guy.
You don't even have a choice.
You don't let landing spot talk yourself out of it. Even though like the Jets isn't ideal, you just go, I'm taking the best talent, most talented running back guy. Because I mean, in fantasy, it's not like McCaffrey was in a great spot for running backs. It's just if you're good, you're good.
So
Like Saquon, the year he was really good, the Giants were terrible, and he was still great.
Like, I have great running backs.
So is your hope Drake London that he's left? Here's a question: if it goes chalky and it goes Hall London, who are you gonna take? Wilson, Walker,
Trey Walker, probably.
Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker, yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Adam keeps trying to trade me Penny and Carson together and being like, "Well, there's 4,000 points." No, it's 2 players that I now have to hold roster spots for. Because that's something I'm starting to realize. Like my dad's set up in a good place where he has people to drop. But like I want to do like 2-for-1, 3-for-1 trades right now because I have too many guys on my team on my roster. Like I don't want
too many mediocres.
So, too many guys I can't drop that I don't really want to play. That's a bad place to be.
That's where I was at with my wide receivers.
I have Chuba Hubbard and Deontay Foreman and like a couple guys like that where I can't drop those guys.
In my wide receiver core, I have 0 in the top 10. But I have 6 between 12 and 40.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's very hard to be that mediocre.
And you can't find anyone to package it for. That's the hard part.
I either end up having to overpay like 3 good who might break out because they're all I have except for Robert Woods. I'm fucking young, and Robert Woods, who knows, he could rebound because now AJ Brown's gone. He could be a target monster.
Yep. If I get the trade,
Darnell Mooney will be.
If I get the trade for Adam, I'm probably just going to turn around and flip CD to you. I'll trade him to you for a reasonable price.
You've seen what I've offered for CD.
Yeah. And the thing is, I'm like, I'd probably take that. I'm just getting
a couple of trade evaluators say
I'm just trying
no.
to get rid of players I don't want.
Like, I'm a part of a few groups and discords about that, and they say CD Lamb side easy because of his potential. But it's like, well, what's the 103 potential then? If you're only banking on potential because CD was the 3rd best receiver or something at his best, but he's actually never finished top 5.
He's played.
This is his 3rd season.
He's played 2 seasons. He finished 22nd and 19th. That's fine. That's not even like.
It's good, but again, his potential is the same as the 3rd pick. And he was hurt. He's already hurt himself. And now he lost the person to take off his double coverage with Amari Cooper. So now he's going to see more advanced coverages to shade over him. I thought I was overpaying as it were, and other people saying, no, CD's a top 5.
That's the thing about Dynasty is, like, I'm not, like, the way people were seeing people like CeeDee Lamb and Kyle Pitts, where they're just like, you have to trade everything for them. But then I couldn't get diddly poo when I was trying to trade Jonathan Taylor.
It's weird how that worked out, that Jonathan Taylor's worth 3 first-rounders now. Didn't I have Jonathan Taylor too? Did I draft him or did you?
Adam did. So I'm sure he's moved hands a bunch. But,
that's it too, man. He is a traitor.
Yeah, I wish, like now, like in retrospect, I wish I just would have held on to him, and I was going for the win last year is what I was doing.
Now you could have done, at the end of
because I traded him and for McCaffrey, who I thought last year
was going to be the time.
If he the thing about McCaffrey is if he's healthy, he scores 30.
If he's healthy, he's the number 1 player in fantasy.
He scores 30, 40, and it's just like, yep.
Although the photos coming out of him now, he looks sickly.
My concern with Taylor is did not get very many catches, and he had a lot of touchdowns, and it's just like those. Not very many running backs maintain scoring a bunch of touchdowns every year. And the Colts are like really content with like giving Nyheim Hines some passing down work and like. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I worried that as they became better as a passing team, that some of those touchdowns become Michael Pittman's, they become so and so's and not Taylor. So I wanted to sell him at his peak value.
So when you want to talk about advanced metrics of football, the Colts have been in the top 3 of turnovers for the last 3 years. The defense have taken the ball, extra possessions. Mm-hmm. Well, now that defensive coordinator is now the coach for the Bears.
Right.
So now there's going to be a change in defense. So like you're losing possessions and chances for those breakout runs for that offense on the other side of the ball.
Exactly. And that kind of stuff just doesn't last. The type of guys. And that's why I ended up flipping it into Najee. I ended up getting Najee, who didn't have the breakaway, but I want the guy who's going to get 80 catches and 300 carries. I want the sheer volume. I like that.
I think Najee's going to be better than Le'Veon Bell in the history of the Steelers.
That could be true, because I like those type of guys. There aren't very many guys like that in the league anymore.
I don't see him being that selfish guy that's going to sit out and hold out, take the money and run.
No.
I see him being just like, I'm yours. I got you.
But I want to have guys who, I like volume on my team. That's why I'm not huge on Jamar Chase. Like, I don't want a guy who's going to get 70, 80 catches on the year. If I want a number one elite wide receiver, give me the guy who gets 120 receptions. Like Devontae Adams. You know what I mean? That's why I prefer Justin Jefferson to Chase. Because if I told you that a receiver had 16 catches for 160 yards and 3 touchdowns, and it was Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, you know it's not Jamar.
Who's Rockman?
Eric. Why? Did he offer you a trade?
No, tell him to check his shit because I don't know him.
Oh, do you send him a trade for?
Yeah, I'll go CAH. It's hard when you can't get, like, I don't know these people in our league.
Yeah, I wanted to get. There's a guy in a different league I'm in who tried to trade me for Kyle Pitts in the Dynasty startup, and then he sent me a trade, and I was like, nah. Like it was one of those, in his defense.
It was a good trade.
It technically was fair by like the Dynasty calculators.
He's trying to send you 9 bench players.
No, he wanted Pitts and Christian Kirk, and I was gonna get Cam Akers, Noah Fant, and Elijah Moore. But to me, I'm like, I was looking at that and I was like, Cam Akers already has had a major injury, and I just don't know how good
It
he is.
didn't look good when he came back.
Elijah Moore, there's nothing wrong with him, but again, he's just not.
He's not blowing your mind.
He's not established yet that it's like, yeah, he's a piece. And then I don't think Noah Fant's that good.
I don't think Noah Fant's gonna be anything.
And then I'm giving up Pitts, who apparently is like the holy grail of all pieces right now. And then Kirk, who I don't think is that good, but I think he's the number one receiver for Trevor Lawrence, who's going to throw it 500 times. That's why I took him in that league. I'm like, he's 25. He's there for a long time, and Trey Lance is about to chuck it.
So I'll tell you this, because no one else, no one in our group is in that dance. Like, no one watching it. I'll tell you this. Albert O is going to be my guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to overspend my free agency dollars to get him because I feel weak in tight end. I have Travis Kelce. Yes, Travis Kelce's 32. He's got to decline soon. I'm going to overspend my free agency dollars on a tight end to fill that need.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it. You don't need. No, you can't. You will not be betrayed. You're a better person. You're not going to betray me. Like, I'll say this. I'm willing to offer $35 free agency dollars to make sure I get him.
So I have Freiermuth, who.
Oh yeah, you're fine. So you're not going to fuck me.
I feel pretty good about.
I think Albert O's
I hate
athleticism.
having 3 Steelers.
I got Justin Fields and Darnell Mooney.
I just got them all for cheap is the problem. Like, I think Najee's legitimately good. I drafted Deontay like in the 5th round, which I thought was too low. He was like the 40th wide receiver taken. And then I took
mixed up
Freiermuth
Najee and
like
Deontay. Okay. Deontay, this is his 2nd year now? Or 3rd? He was a rookie last year?
Who, Najee?
No, Deontay.
Deontay Johnson?
Yeah.
No.
What is
This will
he?
be he's in the same class as A.J. Brown, McLaurin.
So he's entering his 4th year?
Yeah.
God, he's getting better, though.
He's good, is the thing. Like, he had... Like, Deontay Johnson was somebody who...
So I was wrong. So Najee is going to be better than Le'Veon in the history. Najee's a baller. He fits. He's a Rust Belt kind of guy.
He's played 3 seasons. In PPR, he finished 41st his rookie year. And then he finished 21st in the 2nd year. And last year finished 8th. He finished 8th last year, and I got him in the 5th round. Like, that's just a value. Freiermuth, I drafted in the 11th round, and he finished as tight end 13 as a rookie.
But he's also a touchdown vulture. You have to whether or not that's going to stick.
Right. Najee finished running back 3.
Yep. No, Najee's a baller.
So that's the thing is, like, Najee and Deontay both did so well.
My fear for Najee is Big Ben was one of the 5 highest at check downs to a running back. And in Mitch's last year as a quarterback for the Bears was actually the 5th lowest at check downs to running backs. So I worry that Najee's going to...
And I have no idea what Pickett did.
Well, it's college. It's a
Yes,
totally
I
different scheme. But obviously the same with Mitch. But like Mitch was not a check down guy. He was a rollout and dump to the hitch. Get Nagy's scheme. Who fucking knows? Mm-hmm. So there's going to be some point change with Najee from check down because, man, he dumped down to Najee
But
a
he should
lot.
be more efficient.
He should, absolutely.
The offensive line should be better. And
2-step drop dump. 2-step drop dump. Swing.
And he should be able to get more explosive plays than he was able to last year.
Yeah. I think
Because we didn't. Do you know last year we had like
the least amount of 20 yard
3
greater.
plays
Yeah.
over 20 yards?
Yeah.
Something absurd. Like we did not get it done.
You were worse in the league, I think, in explosive
We were
plays.
the worst.
Which
And-
the year before that was the Bears for 2 years.
But you know what we added this year? Speed.
Speed matters. That's why
We added Miles Boykin, who whatever ran a 4.3940. We draft Pickens. He's fast and big, and then we draft Calvin Austin, who's a straight burner. Like
I think Pickens going to the Steelers was the best possible location because how many years was Antonio with
my hot take
Pittsburgh?
is, well,
6?
is Claypool gonna not start by the end of the season?
I think he's going to be checked out. I think he's going to be sluggish. He's going to end up being a blocking wide receiver
Well, I'm saying like, is he gonna lose his job?
to Pickens.
Well,
Pickens
because
is a-
Deontay's the X.
Pickens is a Y though.
But I'm saying exactly. But I'm saying Claypool isn't taking that position.
Pickens
Pickens
can
will
do
be the Y
Pickens
pretty early in the season.
Pickens can do Claypool's job. Claypool can't do Pickens' job. So Pickens can play outside. Pickens can also play slot, and it's easier to learn the slot.
Right, but I think it's Pickens. It's more likely that he starts in one of those two positions. But I mean, like, I think Pickens takes the job as the Y.
Pickens will eliminate the need for Claypool as he learns the tree.
And then Claypool is going to try to be the slot guy. But the issue becomes, does Calvin Austin take that job?
I'd have to see Matt Canada's offense more to know the need at the slot.
We need a slot.
Because
But I'm saying the problem is Claypool's never played in the slot in his career, in college or in pro. So he's going to just be learning it. And, like, he's going to try to be a big guy. But I'm saying, like, if Calvin Austin's just good, that's going to be the issue. It's like, if he can't play slot and Pickens takes his job, there's nowhere for him to play. He becomes the 4th down deep threat guy. Or the 4th receiver, just deep threat guy.
it's the end of his contract too, isn't it?
Claypool, no, this is only year 3. So I
He
just
becomes expendable, and I think
that's the thing is, do you trade him if he loses his job?
you kind of have to trade him early then because his value is going to drop
Right.
as his production
I
drops.
was like, if he loses his job, you got to trade him. Having him as your 4th receiver doesn't make a ton of sense.
He's already
Especially
burned a lot of the Pittsburgh fan base because of the way he plays.
his
His selfish
maturity.
assholeness. Yeah, that
And the issue becomes, Pittsburgh already said that their wide receiver 2 this year is going to be Freiermuth.
I mean, I kind of should be.
They said that they think he legitimately is going to be a pass catching monster. At Penn State, he broke like all their records or something. So like, they think that he's going to be like good. And so like, if Deontay's the number 1 option and Freiermuth's the number 2 option, and then Pickens ends up being the number 3 option, is Claypool even going to be content with being option number 4? To where Calvin Austin will be, because he's young and when you play that way, like that fast, you're fine with 50 catches this year, but I'm going to have 1,000 yards, or whatever it is, because I'm going to get some 60-yard touchdowns. That's just going to happen.
Pickens has absurd talent, and I don't think the Bears could have handled him because of his aggressiveness post play. And
I think Pittsburgh's a good fit for him.
there's no better players coach than Tomlin.
In that too, we have a history of physical receivers with like Ward,
You
and, like, guys like that.
You corral them
So we'll tell
perfectly.
them, we love your physical, like with Ward and Juju stuff. We like that. Keep doing that. No more punching. No more, you know what I mean? Like Pittsburgh's good at controlling that. I think where they can be like aggression, yes, Punches, no.
Right. And the Bears last year had Javon Wims.
Where some people just some
punched you in the
places
face with his helmet on.
like Mike Evans. I think that if he went to a better situation, but his coaching, they kind of are just like let the players do whatever they want. So he gets suspended sometimes.
Who was that fucking guy? The black guy. He looks kind of like Byron Leftwich. He was a defensive coordinator. Not
Todd
Jim
Bowles?
Caldwell. Huh?
Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles, yeah. He let too much go, and it didn't help corral and grow maturely.
Well, and the good thing for Pittsburgh is Pickens will be in a situation too where
You're not the best guy on the team.
act
Like,
out, you're not playing.
yeah.
Like, we'll just roll with Deontay Claypool and Calvin Austin, and you can sit your butt on the bench until you don't punch people.
Right. So, like, you guys have an established hierarchy. Well, the Bears are so new in the upper, I don't think it would have.
And
I
just
love
the way-
Pickens. I wish we could have got him. He's awesome to watch. But
And just the way the Roonies are. The
Yeah.
Roonies are very much a calming force. I mean, how long did we keep Antonio Brown calm? To where I didn't even know.
no one knew he's a fucking psychopath.
like I didn't even know. And then like he says he wants out of Pittsburgh because he's upset that Juju got like team MVP or whatever. And then
Off the rails.
it's just
To
insane.
strip
After that. It got to a point where we're like, we got a third round for that guy. Like at the time, it was like, how did we only get a third round? The only reason we got a third round is because people were like, something's up here. Like,
and he
what?
stripped naked in the middle of a game and hopscotched down and deuced out
and
mid-game.
I don't even remember what happened. We traded him to the Bills, and then he said, I'm not doing that. And then we traded him to the Raiders,
And went to the Patriots.
and then he got cut by the
He
Raiders.
got caught by the Raiders in
'Cause he, like,
10 days.
Did some crazy stuff. Like, did he get punches coordinator or something wild?
He did something stupid in practice and he got cut.
Yeah.
Signed by the Patriots. He was good for 3 weeks.
Did some more crazy stuff.
And even Tom Brady's like, ooh, nope.
And then he went to the Bucs.
And
And,
they- yeah, give
honestly
him-
was kind of immediately their best receiver. Despite not playing football in like a year and a half.
And was elite for,
Playing on a team with two good receivers.
and he was elite for 20 weeks.
And then just lost it again.
Lost it.
He's not going to play anymore, I don't think.
But can you imagine? You're so good. You've done all of that. You're showing up to practice in a fucking helicopter. People are still thinking, who should get him? He's such an elite player. And if
And
it
he's
weren't
old for the position at this point.
but it's still better.
He's so good. Best thing is Pittsburgh kept him under wraps for a long time.
Think of how good of a coach and system they have that no one really.
No one knew. And the funny is, like, Ryan Clark was like, he was always a problem. But I'm like, I didn't know about it. I'm a huge Steelers fan. I follow everything, and I had no idea.
And they're on CBS every single fucking week.
Yeah, and I had no idea. The media had no idea.
Yeah, us here in Florida. 425 game, it seemed like
All they talked about was he had great work ethic, which he does.
guy
still.
can run a route.
No, and he's in the gym. Like that's true.
Gym rat. Him and Juliet
I mean,
Edelman.
apparently he
gym
might
rat.
be like sexually assaulting the women in the gym, punching random elderly people, throwing. I mean, he might do crazy stuff, but he's in the gym.
Pittsburgh must have it like a great handler that's just like,
Just someone's job was to babysit that man.
I hold his hand when he goes to bed at night.
we had a nanny somehow. And the funny thing is, remember where we drafted him? 6th round out of Central Michigan.
It's fucking crazy.
That's the thing is, like, we just find these receivers. Deontay Johnson out of Toledo. George Pickens isn't quite that coming out of Georgia.
Yeah,
Calvin Austin fits the brand a little more coming out of Memphis. It's more of that's more on
No,
brand.
I can't give you that though because Calvin Austin was a projected 3rd round.
No,
player.
I'm with you, but I'm saying more on brand of just Pittsburgh taking a guy from a school that's not necessarily like elite, and then them end up being elite receivers.
Darnell Mooney would be that type for you guys.
We just keep doing it.
4th round pick, small school.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I guess we'll see what happens, but
Here's hoping.
I'm very excited for this season.
Yeah, we're an hour and 15 in.
I think that Pickens, though, I saw a tweet about him that I really loved. It said, this guy is either going to be an all-pro or suspended by week 4. There's no in between. Just by the way he was looking at himself being drafted.
Was George Pickens the one standing there with that fucking mask on? Yeah, he was that guy, huh?
He was crazy.
Weird.
Just strange.
Yeah, he might be expelled.
He must not be that bad. I only say that because Pittsburgh has been on a kick of drafting good people for like the last 4 or 5 years.
They're going more towards humans.
Yeah.
Versus.
So he must not be malicious off the field. He clearly has thrown some punches on the field. One of which he got suspended for in college last year when he got suspended the first week of the season on the first play of the game.
Was that when he got into the fist fight and he punched the guy in the helmet?
Yeah, first play of the game.
A vast majority of his stuff was as a freshman.
Yeah.
But, like, again, when you go to Georgia, like, your whole life probably has to change because Georgia's still a huge power school. Mm-hmm. So, dude, he's probably getting his palms greased. He's probably getting, like, way more money than he's ever seen in his life.
And that's the good thing about a place like that. Someone wrote an article where they said they wanted Pickens to go to a lot of different places. They said that they thought Pittsburgh is a great fit because they just said,
I agree.
They said if you want a guy if you're a guy who's been a little rowdy, nothing's better than going to a team with such good structure and stability.
Yeah,
it's like an example of.
I think that's one of the reasons the Bears have been lost since 2008 when they fired Lovie Smith. Like, there was a culture. And there was like a way to do things in a process. Like, hey, the guy that plays the hardest and works the hardest and is the best teammate's going to play.
I want the Steelers to sign Emmanuel Sanders for that reason.
God, I wanted the Bears to get Emmanuel Sanders.
He's still out there. But
super disciplined.
A
great veteran to teach.
He's a guy who was with the Steelers for like 6 years. I would love to bring him back.
I loved him in Buffalo.
And I'm just saying, I'd love to bring him back, though, and just basically, since our receiving room is so young now, make him even be down the stretch or just be the grizzled. Since our whole offense is so young, let's let him be the grizzled vet who's like, this is the Steeler way. This is how we do things. Our defense has those guys.
Quit fucking around.
Like, our defense has Watt, Minka, and Hayward. We have leaders over on that side. But our offense, I don't know who the leader is. That's the scary thing.
Dude, yeah. A huge culture change.
It's hard to just tell Pickett, you're it. Figure it to be the leader. Or Trubisky, either one of them when you're brand new, but like it's probably not Deontay because wide receivers generally aren't the leaders. No matter how good you are, you're not unless you're Hines Ward, he was kind of the exception. Because he was the Steeler and he took some cheap shots, I will say that.
Yeah, and Ben wasn't the leader either though.
I wouldn't say dirty shots. Because for me, I don't think he was trying to hurt people. And he wasn't taking illegal shots.
Aggressive effort.
They were cheap. Some of them, they weren't looking. They changed the rule because they were like, Hines Ward's going to kill somebody.
Yeah, he's breaking linebackers' necks. It
was technically legal, and so it was one of those things where like, I don't think it was dirty, but I think it was cheap. You're hitting a linebacker and they can't see you. Like it wasn't a fair fight, but I don't think he was out there like some Rodney Harrison. Sometimes I think he was trying to hurt people.
Right. Sometimes like
different.
Vontaze Burfict from the Bengals.
Yeah,
he would try to murder people, but even when he would.
In practice, he was hurting his own teammates.
When he was
like going low on his own teammates in practice.
When he was doing better, he'd still get flagged because like he just established himself. Like, you're dirty. Like, I can't give you the benefit of the doubt because you've proved me wrong before.
And Hines didn't get a lot of penalties on him because their ass even would look at it and go, "Oh, I killed that guy legally." But once you do it illegally enough times, they start to like.
But because his effort was always 100%, like when he was by the book, it was still like. What let me tell you? He blocked you like a fucking guard. Like, he was inside your pad. You got nothing.
That's what I was saying. Like, I think that's where like
if you do things so right, doing a couple of wrong things would give you the benefit of the doubt.
Like, if I was a Ravens fan, I would have hated Hines Ward because you'd just be like, oh my god, she just destroyed Ray Lewis and he wasn't looking again. Like, that's so cheap. Like, you'd be like, fight him for real. Like. You're a big man, you're coming running back behind him because now it's a crackback block and you can't do that because it all started because Keith Rivers, he was a rookie wide receiver for the Bengals, supposed to be really good, top 5 pick overall. We throw a pass, Hines Ward does a crackback block, obliterates him. As he's falling to the ground, Keith Rivers looks like this, and apparently he dislocated and shattered his jaw, and Hines Ward immediately after he hit him was like and like, which shows you it wasn't a dirty play because his reaction was like, no. Like, I just killed that poor 22-year-old. And he was never the same when he came back. And so after that, they're like, you know what? No, just obliterating people when they're not looking. Like, I think they should change the crackback block rule It's just hard. I think they should change it to something where like you can touch them, you just can't kill them. But it's just how do you write that?
It's hard
That's
to
the
watch
hard
in
part.
real time if you have 3 refs.
Because it's
Truly,
hard when
truly,
you can't block them at all, and they can turn around. You know what I mean? Before
right?
they're
Because you
allowed
have
to do
4
anything.
refs, but you have one that's watching the ball in the line, secondary linebackers, and that 5 yards within the line of scrimmage. Like it's super
'Cause
hard.
you should be allowed to hold, like push them, basically, like just like kind of hold them there so they can't turn around and tackle your guy.
Get to the
But
spot.
At the same time, you can't just be like, bam.
Right. It's sort of like a get to the spot thing where like a partial arm extension where it doesn't look like a block in the back, but you
Now all you can do is you just gotta run in between them and the person that you want, and just kind of stand in the
right.
way.
You're looking at 5 players to 6 players to try to get to this one spot. It's not easy.
Jim shouldn't have chose Pam or Karen. He should have stayed with whoever.
Pele.
Whoever.
Oh, her.
Yeah,
The redhead,
Amy, her name
the
in this
salesman.
movie?
Yeah, the
he-
salesman.
He's just stayed with her.
She's got a little bit of a Isla Fisher look to her.
Yeah, Amy Adams.
Yeah. All right, let me whoop your ass in some Madden.
Yeah, probably.
Although you have a win on me.
Yeah, but the last 2 times were embarrassing.
Yeah, but you listen. You got to hold on to that one win.
Yeah.
You're winning like 9.
And I maybe could have had one if I'd have taken the Chiefs like a cheap person.
Yeah, we do fairly like.
It's not fun to be like, oh, I have Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. I'm just gonna throw the ball 90 yards. Because there's that one route where Tyreek crosses the field that no one can stay with him.
Yeah. So the Bears actually have that play now. It's a mesh play. It's a mesh concept to try to pull the linebackers in on a drag from the slot receiver, while the X receiver runs slightly behind them, and all your quarterback has to do is to hit between the 2 deep safeties and the 3 linebackers.
Oh, real quick before we get off, I don't want to touch the Miami backfield this year at all in fantasy. So you know how I had Chase Edmonds, Mostert, and Gaskin?
Yeah, because I had.
Do you see they signed a 4th running back?
I did not.
They signed Sony Michelle.
Oh, Sony might be the money hound for the 3rd and 1s.
But it's Sony, Edmonds, Mostert, and Gaskin. Like, I think Gaskin.
I think Gaskin gets left out.
He just doesn't play. But that's gross.
Yep.
Like, that's just I don't want to touch that. All right, well, we can get off here. But yeah, I just saw that and was like, we were talking about whether you want Mostert or Edmonds a while ago, and now it's like none of the. Look at Dallas.
What happened here? Who's this guy? Bullock, who's got his bird
They're just starting to
feathers.
shoot threes.
I think Edmonds in Miami's backfield plays best because dump down receiver.
But I just worry that he's not going to get enough touches.
No, you're relying on PPR and breakout plays. But Tyreek's not going to block for you the same way that.
And Waddle Taker both too small. Yeah. Everyone's talking about how fast those guys are, but they're both small.
Yeah. They're not. There's going to be no physicality to that game. Yeah. All right. You guys have a good night. I'm going to try to fix this shit so we can run everything I want to run, but my God. Yep, it's the MBZ podcast. Let me switch this to the BRB page. We wind you out with a little bit of music. You can listen to Jack's song for a minute. You'll get to hear Baby Girl's song here in the next week or two. Working on a song for her. Have a good night.
Thanks for listening to the On Call Podcast. Check us out on Twitter at OnCallPod. Interested in being a sponsor or want to be on the show? Drop us an email at oncallpod@gmail.com. For more info, go to oncallpod.com.